Good football fans, welcome to another edition of the Positively Uncensored Arsenal podcast. And I'm your host, Shotta, and as usual, my good friend and colleague Blackburn George is here with me. I couldn't do the show without him, actually. George, welcome.
Hello.
George, this is a post game Arsenal versus Brighton, who
Is it a post game or a post mortem?
I think it's a bit of both. you know, um, I wanted to take a slightly different tack from everybody else. And in the post game, everybody has been total doom and gloom, and that's been a theme for the last since Crystal Palace. And George, there is good reason to be very negative on Arteta in particular. But the manner of our loss, this is a team that the last 7 games they had 6 losses and 1 draw against Norwich, who are fighting relegation. But you and my fear from Friday came into fruition. People who have never scored goals or never excelled, all of a sudden, they excel on us, and I'll talk about the fella in Wepu. But George, we didn't do enough to win that game, and we lost 2-1. Your thoughts on that, George? Am I setting this up right or wrong?
Well,
one moment, George. There is a very special guest member of the team here with us. Byso, long last.
Hi.
You missed my setup. I hope you got it, and I won't repeat it for too much. But I was telling George that the sky is falling. It's all negative doom and gloom. Arteta is the worst coach ever. And George was about to reply, but I'm sure he's going to say something to you. George, go ahead.
No, I'm just surprised he's here. Fell out with me this morning because I was laughing at the Pope.
Did you do your I noticed you didn't get a shave just for her. Okay, guys, let's focus on the football.
You lied to me, George.
Yeah, he did.
I did have a shave. I shaved these bits.
Nice.
Side bits.
Yes. Same old George. Okay, George, we don't need you for the shave. We need you for your mind. Come on, tell us. Are you into this doom and gloom?
Me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Well, it's just been so disappointing because we played so badly. I don't mind losing. We can, you can lose, but when I spoke to you last week, I said my fear was that he puts Xhaka at left back, and what did he do? He put Xhaka at left back. Mm-hmm. That's to take your best midfield player out. I don't mean best we have left, our best midfielder player, and put him at left back because you don't have the confidence in the guy that you bought to cover for Tierney. He bought him, and now he's frightened to play him, and he takes your best midfielder out and plays him at left back. It was doomed from the start. It was doomed from the start. I said at half-time, if he doesn't change it, if he doesn't get Xhaka back in midfield, we'll lose. He did put Xhaka back in midfield, and we immediately improved. We were the better team in the second half, even although we only managed to draw 1-1 in that half. We were the better team. But, we looked so toothless. You don't know where goals are coming from. You certainly don't know who's going to create a chance. I think reports of Saka, Emil Smith-Rowe and Odegaard being world-class were rather premature.
No, don't predict their death now, George. Byso.
I'm not predicting a death.
No, I know. I'm just taking the piss. Byso.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring you in, but I want to remind people, you have been reviled on Twitter by a certain group of, and I call them misogynists, when the last time you came here, a couple months ago, you said Arteta he's been lucky when he has a perfect 11, a perfect team, all seems to go well. But once he starts losing one piece of that first 11 that he has, things don't go very well. And so said, so done. Maybe you want to comment on that because they said you don't know anything about football.
Well, everyone's got their opinion, right?
Yes.
And so, like, for me, I just believe that, what we're experiencing now is part of the inexperience of the coach, just to be able to think beyond. And I think this problem is not a problem that started, just yesterday, right? It's something that we've noticed has been a pattern that is like we lose one member of our first 11 and then we seem to forget how to play football. It almost doesn't matter, who it is that we lose, because I just feel like, and I thought we had gotten over that hump in the respect of the fact that, we did very well without Tomiyasu. We actually even played better football without our first choice right back. So, for me, it felt like this team was starting to evolve beyond, just playing one's way of football with the first 11. But, losing Partey, let's get it right here. Losing Partey is a big blow to any football club that loses their first choice, central midfielder. Is a big blow. But how we compensate for that blow is something that, Arteta has got to try to work on, in the sense that, you're losing one piece. You don't have to move all the remaining pieces around just to compensate for that one piece. Do you get what I mean?
Yes, I do.
Make sure that, we minimize the disruption as much as possible, right? And that for me is where yesterday's lineup, didn't. I would say yesterday's lineup didn't help matters at all, because I think he was really shocked by the performance level that Nuno Tavares gave to us the last game, and he just was not in the mood to see him present that kind of performance again. And so then we were faced with two disruptions as opposed to one additional disruption, right? And to compensate for that, what does he do? He makes a third disruption by moving Xhaka to left back. You understand me? And then, everything from there on was just a mess, because first of all, introducing ESR to partner Odegaard in the midfield hasn't worked. We've done that in the past. It has been to our detriment. So we are now doing it again. And not only that, we're putting Sambi Lokonga, who is shaky a little bit, behind them. It was just a recipe for disaster, and then we're having Xhaka, who, he's not necessarily a two-way player, having to play in a position that requires someone who's both, athletic going forward and, recovery pace. So we've just gone from losing two positions to four. We actually doubled our problems. So, I don't think anyone should be surprised at the performance level that we had yesterday. But credit to Arteta, he took action at halftime, and he brought Xhaka back in the midfield, and we can see that, that had a very good effect on the overall proceedings. It was, it gave us a little bit more balance, but we still didn't have that bite.
We didn't have the cutting edge. We didn't have the cutting edge.
It came in too late.
Yes.
Because I feel like if we had responded much earlier, we would have walked away with at least a point. But
Byso, I'm afraid you got to take your blows here. I'm afraid I disagree with you somewhat.
Okay.
And I'm going to throw this at George. So you lose Partey, who is your deepest lying defensive midfielder, a position that people a lot of people in England and Arsenal think that's the most critical position on the football field. I mean, we've been lusting for big, strong, deep central midfielders. But why don't we have El Neni on the field? He not even got an appearance. I mean, I really find it very difficult. I know everybody's going to say I have a bias against Party, but this is a position that you have to keep. And I do. And George, we know that. But this is a position where your role is to keep it simple, George, to recover, to feed the more attacking midfielders. I thought that decision was strange, just to be charitable. Go ahead, George.
Yeah, well, I've been saying for a few weeks, when you were asking me why we'd improved, I said that we had our best players playing in the best positions. I kept saying it every week. That's why we were playing better. And now, all of a sudden, we didn't have our best players. Not only not playing, but not playing in the best position. You're right. El Neni was the obvious choice. And that leaves minimal interruption. It just says, who do you then play at left back? Well, play your fucking left back. Play the guy Play the guy you went out and spent money on. And okay, he didn't want to see him because he's had 2 nightmare games. In that case, Gabriel should be nowhere to be fucking seen because he's had a fucking shocking run recently.
Yes.
But he persists with him, but he won't persist with a kid at left back. And he might not be ideal, but he's the lesser of all the bad options,
Yeah. I agree.
He sent that many fucking people on loan that could have covered now, and had sold them. Chambers could have played. Bellerin could have played.
Well, you have El Neni, George. You kept El Neni for a reason. I'm sorry to interrupt. You kept El Neni exactly for this kind of situation.
Yeah, of course he should have done. And so it was just a recipe for disaster, and it was a disaster. It's a fucking nightmare, to be honest.
Well, I'm trying to,
from sitting pretty 7 days ago, looking like top 4, we were odds-on favourite to get top 4. Now it looks like we've very little chance of getting top 4. And it's very disappointing. And you can understand why people have turned. My timeline was a joke this morning when I looked on it. I thought, I'll just see what's going on. It was one negative comment about Arteta after another. And I know a loss brings people out and gives them a voice and makes them brave, because they're not going to get shot down. But there was nobody defending him. It was one. I felt sorry for him for once. But I can understand why people have turned. We almost got gifted the chance to get top 4.
Yeah.
By the way that Spurs had played, the way that United had played. It was a gift to us this year, and we've thrown it away. We had the lot, like we said weeks ago. We got a lottery ticket, and we've not cashed it.
No, we flushed it.
Now we're complaining. We're skint.
We left a lottery ticket in our pants and threw it in the laundry. You said something, Byso, on Twitter.
Oh, I say a lot on Twitter.
You're the Twitter ratty. You're amongst the Twitter ratty when it comes to us. But you said something on Twitter about football. You said a lot of subjects, but you said something that's very important. So far, we have created 34 big chances.
Okay.
Against Burnley, struggling for relegation, we have 33. And that, to me, although Arsenal had an overall 65% possession, we banged in 20 total shots at them, right? They had to block 11 of them. Right? But when you look back at the game, you really didn't see more than maybe 3 or 4 real big goal-scoring chances. Am I wrong or right?
How many chances, based on the stats, did we create yesterday?
Well, let's say we had 20 total shots. I don't want to go to dig deep in the weeds, but I
Okay.
mean, we are using the eye test here, because at the end of the day, most people don't even freaking care that you give them this information and they just dismiss it. But go ahead.
So what's the question?
I said, didn't. Well, the question was, isn't this obvious that despite having so much possession, that big chance creation remains our essential problem under Arteta? That's the question.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And
It
why
is
is
a
that so?
problem.
Because why is that so? Go ahead.
It's really really hard for me to kind of um, pinpoint what exactly the problem is. But I think part of the issue we're having of late
Yes.
is the fact that Bukayo Saka is not at the races as he has been for us for a lot of this season. Um, you know, I don't know if you cast your mind back to when we had this very good run between January, February, and
March.
March and all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
The main chances were created between that axis of Bukayo, Odegaard, and Cedric Suarez, right?
Right.
It was their overload, the combination, and sometimes we switch. Odegaard switches play over to the left side, and Gabriel does his magic, right? And Gabby, he does his magic, and he either lets a shot off or you know allows us to put the opponent under pressure.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we're missing a little bit of that. I think Saka is. I don't know whether he's close to burnout, but he's not at that level, and I think maybe he can do with some rest. Who knows? But now with the left back position up for grabs, he may not have that rest. But I think that's part of the problem. Another part of the problem, I believe, is the fact that we are not able to impose ourselves on the opponent. Like the Arteta style of play requires us to maintain a high line and to squeeze the opponent in their half.
Right.
But we have not been able to achieve that. And the only way we can do that is to press as a whole unit and press the opponent into their half. But unfortunately, because like in yesterday's game, we were not able to keep hold of a lot of. Yes, it looks like we had a lot of possession, but again, if you look at the different phases of play and how they've managed when we're trying to progress the ball, we somehow, as we're moving as a unit, lose that ball and it goes. Then we try to win it back. So a lot of our attacks have not been cohesive from back to front. And I think that's it's not a it's not a problem that you can fix by pinpointing one thing. It's the whole system. It's how the people fit into the system, and those who fit into the system, what their performance level is. So it's a three-layer issue that we're having right now. But overall, if we're looking at all of our players back in first 11 back in, we did go on a very good run, right?
I
Where
know.
we everyone in apart from Tomiyasu, and we're able to create lots of chances. So there is hope for the system, but we just need to find a way to bounce back from losing members of our first 11, and that is where I think yesterday we suffered the most because we created more issues, more problems in various positions than we ought to have entered that game with.
Byso and George, and I'm going to throw this at George. The way in which you put that, and I tend to agree with you in a way, right? But in two games, we had two different coaches approach a problem of Arsenal a different way. Vieira decided to stop us coming up the gut, right, and force us wide. And then
he pressed Partey to injury.
yes, a Partey with
Partey couldn't cope. He had to go down.
the press resistant Partey. But guess what happened yesterday? In a strange sort of way, because of Arteta's lineup, he had 4 against 5. Potter decided to stick with his 3, 5 in the middle.
Partey? No.
And then Graham Potter, and then force your boy Saka, force your boy Martinelli to go wide, and he had Cucurella and Trossard and the Mwepu competing against them, and of course Xhaka. By the way, you're correct. Everybody's correct on this. He doesn't have two-way speed. His recovery speed. We all know that.
Yeah.
And for some reason, George, this question is yours. For some reason, and Arteta doesn't seem to have a solution for that. And you know what I think it is, George? I don't know if you agree with me or not. I don't think he has enough faith in Xhaka to run the game. I don't think. He just reluctantly pushed him forward, and I don't. This is just my thought. What do you think?
I have no idea what you've just been talking about.
I don't think he gives enough Xhaka enough faith to run the game, and that is his problem with running the game in the middle. Your thoughts?
Oh, I don't think that. I think he relies on Xhaka.
Yeah. I think so too.
I think he absolutely has faith in him. He picks him every fucking week.
So why did he take him out of the middle then?
Because he's a player that he trusts to play anywhere, and he has a problem that he's not got a solution for. And Xhaka's always the problem. I tell you, if we were short of centre backs, he'd put him at centre back.
Yeah.
He would. He just trusts him to solve that problem. But that opens up a bigger problem because of his loss. I just think it's rank bad management on his part. And there's no two ways about it. It's been a cock up, and like I say, I can understand why people are upset, and demanding his head.
So you think I think I'm being too cute there? Yes, go ahead, man.
No, Shotta, I think the problem is not that he doesn't trust Xhaka. The problem is that he does not trust Nuno Tavares. And if he doesn't trust Nuno, the only other option to play left back is Granit Xhaka. He's not going to put Bukayo Saka there because he feels that Bukayo is going to give him the goals. So he had
Martinelli playing left back yesterday, for heaven's sake.
Yeah, at
the end of the day, he had created that problem with his starting lineup, and he needed to correct it, right? Mm-hmm. And that was and that goes to show as well that he still doesn't trust Nuno. Like, he'd rather play a forward at left back than play Nuno. You see, so it's the problem is he doesn't trust Nuno.
George?
Well, yeah, I do agree. Yeah, that is exactly. He doesn't trust him, and he bought him, and he destroyed his confidence, taking him off at half time.
Yes,
not even half time. 30 minutes in, who was it we were playing?
Nottingham Forest, the great Nottingham Forest.
Bloody second tier team, and he's took him off, destroyed his confidence, and not give him any minutes to get it back. In the meantime, people were saying at one point this season that Tierney was going to struggle to get his place back.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Remember that?
Yes.
But that was when it was a 10 out of 10 window. Don't forget. Everybody was a success. It was a 10 out of 10 window, and the best window for the last 20 years. And what's it look like now? I'm saying it's a solid 4, but
I think that's too harsh, but that's all right.
No, that's really harsh. It's a good window.
Why was it a good window? Thomas Tuchel, what good's he been for the last 3 fucking months?
No, I think where we
No.
missed it was the
Tavares.
January window, not the summer window.
Tavares, we can't fucking. He won't play him. He's that bad. Ben White has a load of mistakes in him. You know, he's decent and he's decent on the ball. But come on, 50 million, 55 million pounds.
55, yeah.
That's not a good buy in anybody's book. Who else do we buy?
We took Odegaard. We took Odegaard permanently.
Odegaard, yeah, he's been okay. Eventually, after 6 months,
and
not very good. He came to the party for about 3 or 4 weeks. So yeah, he's all right. Ramsdale, he's good. Glad we got him. He's a part. He can be part of the good window, and that's it. You know, you 10 out of 10 windows really are 4. It's fucking. And but what I'm saying is, at the time, everybody was getting bigged up, and we bigged Tavares up when he was never that good. He was never ready to play.
You know, I might be. I tried to snuck this in after my very complicated question, but I think so. Maybe Byso, I'm not. Yeah. I'm trying to avoid naming Arteta as part of the problem. That's what George is saying. I mean, is all the negativity towards him justifiable? Is it that he's not getting the most of this team? Tell me. Tell us.
I think no. Let's get it right. I think he has done a good job, at least from what we saw between January and March, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. In terms of getting the best out of the team and maintaining a consistency. In our performance level and in the results, right? In the past 3 months. So, and that's not that easy to do. Even in those games where we lost, maybe like to Liverpool or to Man City, we had a good performance level. It wasn't disgraceful, right? So I think the problem he's having is his reaction to adversity. Mm-hmm. Right, and that's something that maybe with experience he can gain that ability, but I don't know. I just feel like he needs to do better with that. It's a glaring weakness in his his coaching ability, and it doesn't look like it's going to improve, because if we can look at the semi-final, the Europa League game against Villarreal, mm-hmm. and see what the problem is in that tie, and fast forward a year later and still committing the same offense, are we learning from the mistakes at all? Because the players are not going to change, the skill set is not going to change. So why did we expect it to change this time around? And don't forget that, in the last 10 minutes of that match yesterday, we were on top of Brighton.
This is why.
And if we had maybe additional 10 minutes, who knows, we could have equalized.
Thanks for saying that, because
it wasn't a case of, the first 11 came out there and, yes, the performance level was below what we were expecting for a team that is going for top 4, right? But it wasn't like a disgraceful performance. What the problem was that a lot of people were out of position, out of their best positions, and they could not perform to the optimal level that is expected of a team that is in the hunt for top 4.
Well, I'm glad you say that, because in the second half we had 78% possession and we had 14 of our shots. By the way, Byso, when you asked, I checked. Was 8 big shots out of the 28 shots in the box.
Okay.
And I count those as big chances. I mean, more or less. George, is he going to improve? I want to pull something out here, because it's not the end of the world. Mathematically, we can still make top 4, George. I mean, it doesn't look real now, but mathematically we could still make it. Spurs could lose two games. In the same way we lost 2 games. But can Arteta pull it together, George? That's a question to you.
Well, it doesn't look likely. It doesn't look likely. You know, what's he going to do? He's going to, unless he makes some better decisions and leaves Xhaka in midfield, puts El Neni with him, the rest of the team's okay. You know,
Yes.
if Thomas Echo's fit again,
Tomiyasu.
Tommy-
Yasu. The Emperor. Call it
the
them.
Emperor,
Yeah.
if he's fit, he comes back in. Cedric can play on the other side. He can play
Left
Yeah,
back.
that's
left
true.
back as well as right back.
Yeah.
So,
And
you
where's
know,
where's Holding, by the way? Go ahead, George.
well, Holding's not going to be playing full back, is he?
Yeah.
But you could have brought Holding in, moved Ben White to full back, and put Cedric on the other side. What would have been wrong with that? You know, surely that's got to be a better option than what we saw. It leaves Xhaka in the middle. Ben White's played right back for England, hasn't he?
Yeah, something like that, George. Yes, he's played right back for his old club. He's played right back.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's played right back and
And they have moved him up into
right centre back.
DM as well. When he was at Leeds, they tried him at DM as well.
That's
Yeah.
right. He could even have moved in. He could even have replaced Partey with Ben White.
Mm-hmm.
Again, bringing Holding in. Holding's not let anybody down this year.
True.
I don't know. It seems to make too many bad decisions and leaves things too late. I mean, surely we should have had Lacazette off. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Eddie, when Eddie came on, Eddie brought a new.
Yeah, I mean, he
life,
came on.
right?
He
Life.
hit the bar.
He hit the
Against
bar.
Palace,
He provided an assist.
Didn't he hit the bar against Palace when he came on against them?
That's right. Right.
You know, I mean,
The Odegaard free kick, he followed up and it was saved by the keeper. You know. And
it'd better if he scored than hit the bar, but still.
Yeah, right. Then he would have been the
But,
hero.
He's got to do something. You know, he can't be playing like that. And it's all right saying we didn't play badly. It wasn't shocking. But when you think we were playing Brighton at home, Brighton haven't won a game since bloody Churchill was a lad.
Yeah.
Well, George, when you're playing in a system that does not allow you to improvise, it's all about structure and positioning, and it's so hard for the players to kind of move out of that structure that they've been drilled
Absolutely
into,
right, yeah.
And I think that's part of the problem as well, right?
I 100% agree with you, Byso. You create a big problem when you have such a structured system with everybody playing set plays, because as soon as you move that player out of their position, they're fucked. They don't know what to do, because they've got to have the knowledge imparted to them. They can't improvise. They can't play naturally. They're playing the way they've been told to play in that little set area. And now if you move somebody out of that and play them in a different position, there's no freedom, and probably no confidence either. So it's a shitty system, isn't it? I mean, it works for Pep Guardiola because every player can basically swap positions. They stay in their positions, but should they find themselves in a different position, they're just as good there as they were where they've come from. Whereas we're not.
George, I mean, I just saw this game, and the thing about City is I can't even express it. The technical ability of those players. I mean, players just take the ball out of the air with regularity, George, and it's death. It's death on the carpet. It's not any bouncing ball. I mean, from the back to the front, the technical level of these players are unbelievable compared with ours. Can you just structure them, and then they come?
Yeah, that's not Arteta's fault, though, is it?
No, but you have to build the team differently.
Exactly. Yeah, you can't expect our players to play like their players. I mean, I watched that game with Liverpool today, and they were Mahrez came on and somebody pinged the ball across field to him. He just plucks it out there, stone dead, boom, and he's away.
Dead.
So, wherever it comes to him, he just kills it and he's away. And whereas we're trying to take it on the chest, they fumble it, it goes out for a throw in. Yes.
By the way,
it's unfair to look at Manchester City and complain about us. So
yeah, definitely. There are very few clubs in the world.
Just by way of comparison, yesterday Lokongo tried at least 3 crossfield passes. One of them came up. But it's not the same quality, George, as these crossfield passes. You see, just guys, we're going to tell you, reflect on what you saw on crossfield passes by City and Liverpool today. They are, this level is a completely different world. Byso, having said all of that, but we're still in the race for top 4, and I'm not going to repeat myself, but George said he's not optimistic he can turn it around. I don't. I mean, I've seen the possession stats for 2 games. That is what is getting at me, and the chances that we have created. And I'm not convinced that we are chopped liver. I really am not. Byso. I know I'm throwing these.
Well, the question is, can we make top 4?
Sorry, go ahead.
The problem with the top 4 race is that it's almost out of our hands right now. Our game in hand is against Chelsea.
Jesus Christ.
So you can imagine, right? We still have to play Tottenham.
Yes.
We still have to play Manchester United.
Jesus Christ.
We still have to play West Ham.
They lost today and they didn't look good.
Yeah. But, I don't know if they'll still be in Europe when we play them, right? Because I believe that they're suffering from the hangover of the game on Thursday. Yeah. And that's why they were not able to play well today. Mm-hmm. So, it's when is Partey coming back?
Next year.
Because we've lost Tierney for the rest of the year.
Oh, he's gone. Yeah.
Right. And so who plays at left back? Is it gonna be Nuno? Is it gonna be
Cedric or Martinelli?
So for me, I think
sorry guys, anyway, we have to make light of some of this. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean absolutely right. But for me, I think it's slim. It's still a slim chance, but it will all depend on what Tottenham do in their matches. And they were not. I think apart from the last 4 games or so, they had not been fully consistent, and they had not performed that well against the smaller teams. And their running is against a lot of the smaller teams. And if those teams sit back, Tottenham have historically struggled against a deep block. So if you don't give them that space to run in, they're going to struggle. So you never know. I think it's still up in the air. I do think it's advantage Tottenham, but we are not fully out of it. I don't believe that we are fully out of it, despite the fact that we're playing, a lot of our top 4 rivals in the running. Those guys are not consistent. Look at Manchester United as well, right? Mm-hmm. They lost to Everton.
Yes.
So these 3 teams are. I think if you look across the 3 teams, we've been the most consistent over the last, I would say maybe in 2022.
You think we've been more consistent than Tottenham?
We've been a little bit more consistent than Tottenham, I believe. So you never know. Our matches, our fixtures for the remainder of the season is much tougher than Tottenham's, but conversely, Tottenham on the other hand struggle against the smaller teams, so it's game on. But it is advantage Tottenham for sure.
George, can we make it up? You're gonna have perhaps the final word here. Can we make it up? Can we make it?
We can. I don't think we will now. I don't think we will, because I don't think he's going to be able to cope with the loss of 2 fucking players.
After spending 150 million.
Somebody mentioned the other day, thinking, the Invincibles, 38 games, unbeaten. Arsene Wenger was only able to field his best 11 twice.
Was it?
Twice.
Okay, I thought it was 3 times.
Not
Okay.
twice. No, that's it. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not the first time I've heard that and seen that statistic. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but we lose 2. I remember us going to Old Trafford to win the league. Not in that not an 04. It was 02, I think.
02, 01, 02.
To win the league, no Henry and no Bergkamp.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And we were in about fucking the Emperor and Thomas Partey, who
Bobby Pires had to do the thing.
Was a fucking liability 9 times out of 10 that he's played this season. So
it's chalk and cheese, really. And I'm late to the party, but I remember, George, the French guy. I mean, we have played with a midfielder playing right back. What's his name in the top 4? Flamini. Wenger.
Left back for the Champions League. Right.
Yeah, and beating big teams for heaven's sake. But no, he's not good enough. He's not. And he has suffered 2 injuries, and the excuses are raining in left, right, and center. And the point George makes. But I don't think we should throw it in yet. I mean, throw it in, guys. Throw in our hand. I mean, we're just. What are they?
You know what the thing is? The problem for me is top 4 would be nice, but imagine us playing the best teams in Europe.
Yeah,
we get our pants taken down. It would be horrible. It'd be like Italy in the 6 Nations.
I think us making top 4 is more about the potential of signing world-class talents and increase revenue as opposed to going deep into the competition.
You're
first
right.
time back, let's make it, because that's a selling point.
I think
it's even go to young talents who say, hey, we can offer you Champions League football. Come to Arsenal. So that's the only advantage of top 4 right now.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah,
it's the revenue, I think. Rather than the opportunity to play Champions League football, because they will look at us at the moment. Any world-class player will look at us at the moment and say, "No, you're not a Champions League team."
I have one last question. I'm dying to wrap this up. It's 45 minutes, nearly 45 minutes. But I know that's on a lot of people's mind, and George expressed it earlier. George, very briefly, and you, Byso. But starting with George, I give Byso the last word. Can Arteta survive this if he doesn't make top 4?
He will survive if he doesn't make top 4. Absolutely, he will. Yeah, and he should.
And you, Byso?
Yeah, and I agree with George here. He should survive, not that he will. He should, because I mean, at the end of the day, we're not seeing the progress that we want to see, but the football club is seeing that progress. Right. If you look at it from a holistic point of view, you finished 8th the last time. You're in the top 4 race this time around. You're probably going to finish 4th or 5th. That is progress for the club. So he will definitely survive. Bar any further meltdown. Because if we go on a run of losses and draws, then maybe you start to question that, right? But if we remain in the fight for top 4 up until maybe that match against Tottenham, he will survive, and he should survive, and he should be given that chance to see what he can do with the team.
Can you imagine if we beat? It's improbable. Beat either Chelsea and Tottenham or both, he would be made a hero.
Possible.
He would be made a hero. They're their statue. So my point is, guys, it's not over until it's over. And this is the positive. We still, Southampton. I mean, granted, they're a bogey team, but that's a winnable game. And let's start there. Thank you very much, George. Thank you very much, Byso.
Didn't Southampton lose 6-something?
6-0, yeah.
They got pasted by Chelsea.
Yeah, so
they're gonna want to get back. They're gonna get back their Spurs against us, and usually somebody who hasn't scored goals for years will score on us. I'm serious. Anyway, guys, let's go. Thanks again, and we'll get together again on Friday. Not you, Byso. You're in some impossible time zone, but George and I will make up for you. Thank you very much for coming.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.